Heritage to me is about the stories that connect us.
Heritage is the way that we live out our history and where we think we fit into the world.
Edmonton's heritage is problematic.
For me, the important thing about heritage is how can we learn from the past?
To me, heritage is the ultimate intergenerational project. It's people and families and communities thinking about what is it about our lives that we want to continue into the future, that we want to pass on to our children. And so it really is the fabric of daily life, what we do that's meaningful.
I think Edmonton's heritage, Edmonton's history is varied, and there's some really positive, really positive elements to it. There's also dark underbellies where people were unjustly treated. There was cruelty to a whole group of people or groups of people. And we can't ignore it. We can't wish it away. We can't pretend that it didn't happen.
These are our stories. These are our history, and if they need to be preserved and they need to be shared with current and future generations.
Now, I'm not interested in just studying history for the sake of finding out what happened. Well, so what? How can we learn from what happened? How can we plan better for the future? How can we avoid making the same kinds of mistakes that were made in the past? How can we treat one another with more respect than we do now? So it's really all about trying to take that history and putting it into a useful context.
I like making the distinction between heritage and history, because to me heritage is what's been left to us by our predecessors for us to care for. So it can be defined in many ways. It can be objects, it can be anything, but the notion is that we are stewards of what's been left to us.
It's the pieces, the living history, the culture, the language, the perspectives, experiences that we have in our city. And me and you sitting in the same room have different perspectives and different outlooks and different experiences, even though we're in the same place.
Edmonton Heritage Council is an innovator, and they are interested in trying new techniques, new approaches to get people to know about Edmonton history.
This is a city that has struggled with a strong sense of its identity. And when I say identity, I don't mean that there's just one Edmonton identity. But there hasn't been the support and the attention to how does the community work, and how do we show this as a city that this is important, so we invest in it.
I think investing in any place's heritage is important because it helps ground you in a sense of belonging when you know the stories of how things came to be and how people arrived here and how we have changed each other. It gives you a grounding for what comes next.
People in Edmonton tend to undervalue the history we have because they think of Edmonton as a new place and there's nothing there, nothing ever happened here. Well, Indigenous people have been here for 10,000 years, so lots of things have happened here over time. We just need to pay attention to them and listen. We need to listen to the environment. We need to listen to the people who were here first.
I think investment's important because we can't tell what's going to be valued in the future. So if nobody is taking charge of being stewards for our heritage today, then the richness of the story to be told later will be weaker.
If we don't invest in our heritage, we'll lose it, and no one will know.
Well, I think the investment in who we are as a city is really important. We often think about investing in the future, investing in infrastructure and planning for the growth of our city. But in order to grow in a respectful and thoughtful way, we need to think about where we come from and where our roots are. And that's what I think the Edmonton Heritage Council does.
There's some good memories here. but there's also some sad memories.
Yes, they have a lot of work to do here.
Oftentimes when people think of heritage, they think of the built form. But if we're only thinking about protecting buildings and physical places, then we're losing all of the memories attached to those, the stories and the experiences. And so we need to invest time, energy, and support those who want to collect and maintain those stories.
The support from the Edmonton Heritage Council was critical. First of all, they understood what we were doing and they thought it was really important. And they also knew the enormity of the task that we were taking on.
Up till now, we've had, I think we've had great success in terms of funding individual projects. But the question we want to ask now is, now what? How do we keep that experience alive, connected, accessible to Edmontonians so that through time, there's this growth in layers of story and identity and connection.
So this place, this gathering place on the banks of the North Saskatchewan has been a gathering place for tens of thousands of years, for time immemorial, and has been a place where people from across Turtle Island have come to share, gather, celebrate, trade, and that is still the heart of our city. People from all over the world now come here and make this place their home and are connected to this long history and this past, but are also constantly making new memories and new experiences on this land.